morning for me um, in Hawaii, but that was such an amazing opening session with Dr. Krashen. So just still really excited and inspired from that. But thank you for joining me in this breakout room. So I'm going to be sharing with you about some examples of some things that we've done at my schools that I work with here in Hawaii. I'll be speaking about supporting multilingual resource creation, which is something that we've tried to do a lot more of the past few years and have piloted several programs. Before I go into it, let me just give you a little bit about my background. So my name is Misaka. I've been an English teacher serving primarily EL students in grades 9 through 12 at Waipahu High School. I taught in our fully self-contained programs. So all of my students were either newly entering the country or had been in for a while. And let me just admit this person. Okay. And oops, does someone else enter the waiting room? Okay. I entered the MLIS program at UH Manoa in 2020. I've served on our Hawaii Department of Education Multilingualism Policy Advisory Committee for the last 2 years, which has been a great chance to brainstorm with other educators and administrators across the state and how we can promote more multilingualism in our curriculums and resources. And then beginning with the upcoming school year, I'll be a teacher librarian at Waipahu Intermediate. So still serving in the same complex that I taught at, but at the intermediate this time. So a few of the things that I'm planning to go over is I'll just tell you a little bit about the community that I work with. It might be similar or very different from where you all are at, but just to give you an understanding of kind of the context of some of the programs that we do. I'll share about our Waipahu Wayfinders program, which was something that we did in the summer of 2020. I'll show you some of the tutorials and resources that we actually created with our students. Just touch on a little bit of the community impacts, but these slides will be shared on our main resource site, so I won't have to go through all of those. And also just a couple other examples of some recent multilingual resources that we've been able to create. And then just touch on a little bit about how we as school librarians can kind of help with this resource creation. Okay, so again, I've been teaching in the Waipahu EL community. So a little bit about our students. 40% of our students are current or former ELs. So, a huge amount of our student population are either currently in our EL program or, may have exited since they've entered into our school system. Our students speak 25 languages. There's a huge amount of diversity. Again, in Hawaii, we have many immigrant families from across Asia and the Pacific. Some of the main languages that our students speak are Ilocano and Tagalog. We have many students from the Philippines and the Waipahu community. Also Marshallese and Chickees. We have again, a lot of students from across the Pacific, from Micronesia and Polynesia. The settings that our students are in, so 46% of our ELs are in our mainstream classes. So, they exited the self-contained EL program and they are in just the general classes, but we try to work with the teachers in the mainstream settings so that they understand some of the needs and the assets of having our ELs in their classrooms. 40% of them are in our self-contained classes, and which is the setting that I taught in. And then the rest are either in community-based instruction or SPED resource and inclusion. So a little bit about Waipahu Wayfinders. This was a program that we put together the summer of 2020. So this was kind of right after everything shut down with COVID, right? In the fourth quarter of school year 19 to 20, right? That was when we were just suddenly thrown online, right? Like a lot of schools across the country. So, you know, especially our EL students and families were, you know, completely not prepared to suddenly go into this online environment. So we thought, you know, how can we help, you know, prepare our EL students to kind of make that switch to distance learning or hybrid learning. So, sorry, I'm just right here. So we, you know, just got a group of our EL teachers and our EL coordinator, and we piloted this Wayfinders program where we wanted to work with our multilingual students and kind of, you know, teach them some of the basics that they would need to know to go into the distance learning. But we also wanted them to be able to help their peers in navigating that, you know, their first languages, right, their home languages, to kind of create resources to help their peers and their families. So just a little bit about how we got the name for Waipahu Wayfinders. Again, I'm in Hawaii, so the Polynesian Voyaging Society is a really important part of our culture here. The Polynesian Voyaging Society has these double-hulled voyaging canoes that are built in the tradition of Polynesian wayfinding. So, you know, they don't use GPS or compasses to navigate the world. And the Hokulea is actually on a worldwide voyage right now. So the ancient ways of navigating is also called wayfinding. So we wanted to choose something that would be culturally relevant to our students. So they were called the Waipahu Wayfinders. So the goal, again, of the program was to prepare students and teachers together and kind of help us learn together and to create resources to help others. Some of us taught in an in-person and online hybrid, which was what I was teaching in, but there were also some students who were completely online. So, I mean, a little bit strange because they were sort of learning how to do it as they were, you know, actually having to be online, but it was a way that we could do it safely. So these are the languages that we ended up, you know, working with. Our students from these language groups were the ones that enrolled in the class, and then they also created the multilingual resources. Let me just navigate over to that page. Can you see this on my screen, the computer help page? Okay, great, yes. Thank you. I saw you nodding. Okay, so this is the product that they you know, ended up creating. So they created a kind of multilingual tech resource page. So it was help for their fellow students. So let's see, let me show you an example. So our Ilocano students made these screencast tutorials to help with Google Classroom and Google Drive and you know, all these things that they knew their classmates would need to learn about when doing their actual classes in the fall. So let me just click on Google Drive. So, you know, the students, they kind of, you know, learned how to use these things first, and then they kind of, you know, created scripts, they worked together, they, you know, talked about like, how can I explain this, say like to my friend, right? So we told them just, you know, pretend like your friend is sitting next to you and you're telling them like, you know, what is Google Drive? Like, what does this mean? Like, how do you, you know, upload something? And so they created these scripts, they translated them, and then they created the videos, mainly using their home languages, but there's also a mix of English and their language on here. So let me see if I can play a little bit of this for you. Okay, so here's how to access Google Drive in Ilocano.
How to access.
Oh, I'm sorry, wait. That's...
So, no, kahit you look down the Google Drive, may kailang
Are you able to hear the audio on that?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you.
the Google tab. Ken, makita ito igid at the Waffle or Google Apps. Pinutin ni DJ. Makita yun at the drive. So, ano kanyo
I won't play the whole thing for you, but I just kind of wanted you to get a sense of that feel of, they're navigating between their own language and English. So you'll hear like, Google Doc or Google Drive kind of sprinkled in. And again, each of these little thumbnails will, expand and students are able to view a full-size video. Let me go back to my slides. Right, so it was just incredible because we were able to work with students from many different cultures and languages, and they were able to again put together these great resources. And they also had to learn how to screencast and how to write a script and how to translate, and they were doing so much at once, but because it was something to help their families and their peers understand, they just kind of were all in. And so it was just an exciting way for us to see how much our multilingual students are really capable of. A lot of the teachers in the mainstream classes kind of feel like, oh, the EL students, like, I don't know, they can't really do that. Like, they're not going to understand or not be able to, but this was a great way to like showcase how much the students are really able to do when they have this product that is authentically going to be used to, help others. Yeah, so it ended up being a great program for them. Let me just look at my timer. I'll make sure I'm not going too long. Okay, so again, we chose a theme that would be relevant for them, with Wayfinders. This is a picture of a master navigator kind of, teaching his family about how to do the wayfinding. So we related it to that so that, the students would kind of think like, okay, like I'm the wayfinder, right? I'm the master navigator. I'm going to help my fellow students. I'm going to just go a little bit faster through some of these slides to make sure I can get through everything. So again, when we went into the program, some of the main skills that we wanted the students to be able to learn and teach about were some of these you see on the screen, because again, like all of the teachers in the high school were using Google Classroom. So, that was definitely something we wanted students to be able to navigate through. Even just, how to share their screen, how to make strong passwords. Those were all things that the students were able to go over. Again, Screencastify was the main platform that they used to record their videos. And again, it just had a great impact on our students. They felt really proud that it was only 4 weeks that they were able to learn all of this and then share their knowledge. The school ended up, sharing it on their website. It was kind of, it started within the Waipahu community, but then it grew to including the, statewide DOE, and then it even was shared with the countries that the students came from. So in the Philippines and Chuuk in the Marshall Islands, they also shared it as a resource. Let me just go through. And as a lot of the teachers and people in the community viewed the tutorials, one of the big comments that we got was, well, wow, the students sound so confident, because they were used to our EL students sort of being shyer or, not speaking up as much in class. But then for those of us, who work with ELs all the time, we're like, well, of course they do, right? Because when we encourage their use of their home language or, allow this sort of hybrid form, use English, use whatever language you feel comfortable with, they just, we really saw their confidence grow. So that was another exciting part of it. Again, in my slides, if you're considering maybe doing a multilingual resource at your own school, there's some other tips in here in my slides that you could refer back to later. And I just wanted to highlight a couple other resources that we've been able to create with our students. So Best Press is a local publisher here in Hawaii. They published these bilingual readers in Chuukese English and Marshallese in English. And so Best Press partnered with the University of Hawaii and with Waipahu High School. So they had Waipahu High School graduates do these read aloud videos to kind of go through and share these early readers. I'll just click on one of these to share. So the students did a read aloud. They made a vocabulary chart. So they would go over the chart and flip through the book, or read the stories. And so
tiniriri po medyo ba ilo magriam and librarian. Hi everybody, today we're going to read the book is called At the Farmer's Market.
That was the voice of one of our Marshallese students who was in the Wayfinders program, and then he also was part of this read aloud video project. Also, the student translators program was something that was piloted this past year. So at Waipahu High School, students can earn the seal of biliteracy, which is an academic honor that can be added to their diplomas. So students need to have a GPA of 3.0, like their general GPA and their English GPA, and take a language test, and then meeting those qualifications, they'll earn the seal of biliteracy. So each year, more and more students and more languages have been able to get this seal. So we thought, why don't we sort of tap all of their expertise and have them serve as student translators. So they've translated report card comments for families, announcements. We've had a push for COVID vaccinations. So they translate school announcements about those. It's just, again, a great way to kind of use all the assets of our multilingual students and help them feel like they're really part of helping their communities. Let me just click on. So the report card comments right now are Chuukese, Ilocano, Marshallese, Samoan, Tagalog. So, the parents and students can go to the website and see it translated there. So lastly, just wanted to kind of go a little bit into, so how as school librarians, right, could we support this kind of resource creation? Because it's something that, we just love to see in other states, other school systems. A big part of it is providing just the space and the resources. A lot of the students don't have access to technology and Wi-Fi at home. So, but, a lot of our school libraries, hopefully, have access to computers or iPads or, anything that the students can use for content creation. In our Wayfinders program, we have these available in our classroom, but many times the libraries are the only place where students can access these things. Again, in your collections, we encourage places to purchase materials from places like Best Press that publish materials in different languages, bilingual editions, in heritage languages. So students just seeing themselves in our libraries, right, will really encourage them to kind of thinking like, oh, hey, I can do this in my language too. In promotion and advocacy, I think all of us as, librarians, really try to do this already, where we really try to promote and advocate for our students, but also promoting multilingual resources. Social media has been a big thing. We try to post a lot and get the word out for these resources. And again, partnering with our students and helping them to advocate in their own communities. And then just that instructional support, as librarians, we do some of this instruction in the classrooms or bringing kids into the library. So, teaching them some of the platforms like Loom, Animoto, like there's so many different free platforms too, where students can create their own resources. So kind of guiding them through. And then, once kids are so quick with tech now, like once they get a little bit of that instruction, they kind of run with it. So those are just a few of the ways that I feel like we could help our students to kind of gain confidence and proficiency in creating these multilingual resources. So, sorry, no, that was kind of a quick overview of everything. But again, thank you so much for listening. And, we have time for questions, I think, if there's anything that you thought of. Wait, how do I stop sharing here? There we go. Oops.
I just wanted to say, I love your idea of having the side-by-side tables, because in my school, we do have about a 40% population of Spanish speakers. I'm not aware of any other languages spoken in our school, but we typically publish separate documents for them. And I really think that putting them on a table form gives them like a sense of equality, and that kind of like assures them that they are receiving the exact same information as the English speakers. So I really like that. Thank you for that idea. And I love your website. It looks amazing. Would you mind sharing the link just to look at it?
Sure. Yes. Let's see.
I'm gonna mute myself, but thank you very much. It was very interesting. It looks really nicely done.
Thank you, Abigail. Just gonna throw the link in the chat here. And also, I did kind of, hyperlink a lot of the resources that I talked about in my slide. So I think somewhere in our overall project site, this will be shared as well. But yeah, that's the link in the chat for the multilingual tech support that I was showing you. So yeah, feel free to kind of browse through. It's so cool hearing the students themselves kind of going through and being the teachers. Was there other questions?
There is one from Danilo. Lori, I don't know if you can read it, but it says, any feedback from the students? What do they think of the experience?
Thanks, Danilo, and hello. We're on a EPLA committee together, so thanks for joining the presentation. Yeah, so the students, yeah, they themselves, said at first they were kind of nervous, or, they were really worried about doing that transition. They didn't know how or if they could do it, but, participating in the Wayfinders program, just did wonders for their confidence. And, by the end of it, they were they felt so proud that they were able to do it, and that they created something that could be of help to others. And it was just really cool because they themselves also started sharing it. I mean, social media is such a big thing. So they would text us and say, oh, is it okay if I share it with my friend in the Philippines? Or can I tell my teacher about it? And then, so it just sort of had this viral thing where, it got shared more and more. So yeah, the students really had a great experience. Thanks for asking that.
Thanks, Lori. I really hope you will follow up with the students, as they move forward, because sometimes the impact, what I mean, when you look at evaluating programs, that's the happy, smiley reaction at the beginning, but
Right.
really to see what kind of skills they're bringing as they move to go to college, or at least 3 years or 4 years down the road. And that's really something that, one way of making, your newbies, see the value of the project. Right now, everybody is excited about it, but I really want I hope that you can collect data or, follow up, after 3 years or something like that and see where they are. I run a lot of undergrad like research assistants, and so they don't see it right now when they're working with me, but then when they start applying for jobs, and then they can see, oh, I was really able to talk about specific things I've learned while working with you. So thank you.
No, thank you. Yeah, and I think that's a great idea. And we do have, a few ways that we could track that. So that's a good idea, because a lot of, students will also participate in summer bridge programs, between high school and going to community college or, different things. So yeah, that's a good idea. Thank you. I say another question. Does the geographical situation or weather play a role in using this platform? Is there anything else? In terms of using our like the multilingual tech support website, or
Yes.
oh, hi. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I think that, or I'm sorry, can you explain a little more about your question?
Since Hawaii is a very, very interesting place, and geographically and other situation, it disturbs a lot for learning process. So are you using specifically to cope up with those situations, this platform, or it is learning process and school system is using it?
Well, for the Waipahu Wayfinders program, the one specifically to create the tutorials, we were kind of the first ones to do that. And, we chose the platforms that we did just, I mean, Google Classroom and Google Drive was something that, as a statewide education system, like in Hawaii, they chose that, for all of the distance learning in our public schools. So, that was sort of, why we chose a lot of the Google products to make the tutorials in. And I think, I mean, definitely having the, like the website up, and, it was a good way to share, because like I said, from Hawaii, it was also shared in other geographic locations. So I don't know if that helps to answer some of your questions.
Yeah, I got the sense why it is used.
Oh, okay.
Thank you so much.
Sure, thank you. Sorry, and I know I don't want to run over time because there's another speaker after me. Should I answer one more question, or? Okay, elementary, but I'll share your program. Oh, thank you so much. That would be wonderful. Yeah, we would love to have it shared with as many people as possible. So thank you. But yeah, thank you so much for joining me in our breakout room. And I know there's another session starting soon. And in Hawaii, it's 6:59 a.m. I forgot what time it is where you are, but again, yeah, thank you.
Nicole, should I continue with the recording?
I guess I can stop and make it two different ones.
Okay.
Let's see.